One, two, one, two. I am live. Hopefully, audio and everything is good. How is everybody out there? This is my first live where I have multiple stories to go over. I'm going to talk about Sweden and the decision that Sweden made that we found out today, January 27th, about puts our decisions in an interesting comparison. The main title story is going to be this Morgan Ortega's endorsement by Donald Trump, and that's going to be the main story. But then after that, the OSHA mandates, we know they got struck down for employers over 100 employers that have over 100 employees, but it's not over. They're going to keep on trying. I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be a short coverage, and then I'm going to end with one. This is a tough time. The last one is a tough one for me. I'm going to be talking about health, and in my opinion, um, some difficult. Depending on what your position is, there are some difficult conversations that it opens the door to that I don't want to have. It's not in my nature, and I'll get to that. I'll give you. It's kind of along the lines of Ethan Klein, Whoopi Goldberg. Like if you're going to start questioning the health decision of others, then that opens the door to other questions of yourself and other types of mandates as well. I'm going to start out with the story on Sweden. So let me get into that first one here. And the reason why, before I get into that Sweden story, I'm trying to, if you look at my picture in picture, it looks kind of funny because my green screen doesn't cover me all the way behind, so you're seeing some non-green screen on my right, your left. But I'm still working out the kinks. Excuse my dust. But these, if you look at people like Eric July, what Tim Pool does with Timcast IRL, they do live shows and then break up the segments for different uploads. That's the most efficient way of getting the word out to people and maximizing your time. So I'm just kind of doing that myself. This Justin, what's up? I appreciate you. Thank you. Good evening, sir. 1-2 El Deuterino, what is up? Appreciate anybody who's found the channel, taking the time to join. I'm literally just a dude in my basement, so I appreciate you taking the time. Let's talk about Sweden. Sweden decides against recommending this thing for kids aged 5 to 12. I am not a medical doctor. I will never pretend to be a medical doctor, but I am a concerned citizen. So I have a right to have an opinion, but I won't tell anybody what to do. You make your own decision. That won't be me telling you to do one thing or another. I'm just sharing what Sweden decided to do. Sweden decided against recommending that thing for kids aged 5 through 12. Their health agency said this Thursday they argued that the benefits did not outweigh the risks in their opinion. This is a report from Reuters. So they looked at the science and came to a conclusion. I'm not saying it's the right one or the wrong one. I'm not claiming that. All I'm saying is a part of science, a part of life is getting data. And I just talked about on a video making a risk reward analysis, and you make a decision. That's what they're doing. That's what America's doing. I don't know who's right or wrong. There really is no right or wrong. You could look at the data from a pure utilitarian or collective mindset from the East and say if one life is saved, it's worth it. That's an opinion. I just want to make sure that it's okay that we all have different opinions. Here's a quote: with the knowledge we have today, with a low risk for serious disease in kids, that's their opinion, this is not me, serious risk for serious disease in kids, we don't see any clear benefit with them getting that thing. Health agency official Britta uh, Brookholm told a news conference. So they're making their case to the people. She added that the decision would be revisited if the research changed or if a new variant changed the pandemic. So they're like, we're going to keep a mind open. Kids in high risk groups can already get the V. So they're saying everybody's in a different situation. That's another reason why I would never make a blanket statement, or and no one should be about anything. I don't know your specific situation. So I like targeted approaches in general in life. I don't like taking a bat and making wide sweeping swings. Sweden's government on Wednesday extended restrictions. This is a separate issue, which included limited opening hours for restaurants and an attendance cap for indoor venues. So I'm not a fan of how they've handled everything, but they said for 2 weeks it's they're hoping to remove them on February 9th. So nobody's perfect. No situation's perfect, but that's what we have. That's what they looked at the data and came up with. And I'm interested to hear what I would like to hear what our public officials would say in response to that. Like if we have a different decision, is it okay for me to ask why is the decision different? I'm not making any statements. I'm just asking why would it be different? Let me share this clip here from I'm going to share from Fauci. Fauci has a different, well, we already can see that Fauci has a different, I would say, take on this. Hopefully, this plays through the audio here.
And the original data that was put forth, it looked like the dose and the regimen for the children who were 6 months to 24 months worked well. But it turned out that the other dose, namely the other group from 24 months to 4 years, did not yet reach the level of non-inferiority. So the studies are continued. It looks like it will be a 3-dose regimen. And the original data that was put forth, it looked like the dose and the regimen for the children who were 6 months to 24 months worked well. But it turned out that the other dose, namely the other group from 24 months to 4 years, did not yet reach the level of non-inferiority. So the studies are continued. It looks like it will be a 3-dose regimen. And the original data that was put forth, it looked like.
So that's the take from Fauci there. So let me know what you think on that. It's just interesting to see another perspective from another country. So that's it for the Sweden take. My next one, I'm going to talk about the highlight one, Morgan Ortega's. Yeah, shocking. It shouldn't be shocking, but it was. Trump has had difficulties with endorsements. I will get into that next. Good evening, everybody. Mona Lisa, Chaos, appreciate you. Thanks for the shout out. Decisions should begin and end with the parents. I like that. 1, 2. This Justin said, I have a 2, 13, and 17-year-old, and my entire family will not. I don't know what YouTube said. I want to be careful. YouTube kind of messed me up on a similar type of thing, but my kids have a better chance of getting hit by lightning. That's his opinion there, and I trust parents. I will say this in a hypothetical. So I want to make sure that I doesn't get me in danger with YouTube. Forget about the real world. I'm talking about a fantasy world. Think about a make-believe planet. If you have a disease and there is a solution to that disease, I trust the people. If it's a great solution, people will be fighting each other to get it. You don't need a mandate. If something works that well, people will go get it. Grim Meadows, thank you for the super chat. He said, keep doing what you do. Let me know if you ever need any hand. Pure bass or precious metals. Wow, talent. Appreciate it. So no, no, no. This Justin is not you. I'm very cautious. I don't. I was listening to Anomaly earlier, and he's been doing it for much longer. So I am no knock on him. Anomaly is great. Check him out. I've used his music. He's wonderful. But you could tell he's kind of jaded on. He's got strikes and stuff. So I'm real. I'd rather. There's a lot of things they'll let you talk about without strikes. So that's not you. That's on me. Ooh, let's get into this. Uh, I did a video earlier today on challenging Marjorie Taylor Greene, and now I got to challenge Donald Trump again. And this is healthy, I think. I don't know why I'm trying to sound down about it. This is healthy. Let me share. I got to share a new screen here. Um, I don't want to sound down about this. Like, this is a good thing. This is a healthy relationship, I think, with Trump to challenge him when we don't, well, at least I don't understand what he's doing. Giving the nod to neocons, I couldn't have titled it any better. Pedro L. Gonzalez is great. Donald Trump's endorsement of Morgan Ortagus empowers GOP hawks and a close friend of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. I didn't know that till I read this article. All this makes sense. It makes so much sense right now. If you don't know what happened, I think was it yesterday? Excuse me. The days go by so fast. Donald Trump endorsed former State Department spokesperson um, Morgan Ortagus for the Republican nomination in Tennessee's fifth congressional district against Rep. Jim Cooper. If you've been following that, the problem is, and I found out about this guy through Tim Pool. He was on Timcast about 8 months ago or so. Robby Starbucks. Robby Robbie has really done a lot of outreach. And if you don't know, I'll get into it more. Robbie Starbuck has done a lot of outreach, and people have warmed up to him. And I'm surprised Trump didn't know that or what. And I don't know if any news came out recently. Maybe Trump, I heard a rumor, I'll talk about it here, that he was going to double endorse to kind of make up for it. But Ortegas met with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump in Nashville. She's a close friend. According to this article, I have no idea, but according to this article, she is a close friend of Ivanka and has described Kushner as a very close friend. I think Morgan Ortegas is a very similar to Kamala Harris. We can make fun of Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris and Morgan Ortegas, but one thing you cannot say about them is you cannot say they don't know how to play the game of life and politics. So I'm not saying that they're fake friends or anything like that, but it doesn't surprise me. You look at Kamala Harris's history, Morgan, anyone who has risen to that power, Joe Biden made a strategic relationship with the Dixiecrats of the South, the Democrats of the South. And it helped him in his career. And he pivoted away when it didn't help him anymore. She hasn't officially announced a run yet, but Robby Starbuck, I think I called him Starbucks earlier, Starbuck, a Republican transplant from California, declared that he would challenge Cooper last year. So we've known this for a year. Starbuck casts himself as a populist, whereas Ortegas is seen as a proxy for neoconservative interests within the America First movement. I don't know. I'm not any gatekeeper, so I'm not claiming to do that. I have never in my life looked at Morgan Ortegas and thought she was an America First candidate. When I just let me just say, when I say an America First candidate, it's not Morgan Ortegas. That's not who I'm talking about, and that's part of the problem here. Ortegas served as a hardline neocon for Secretary of State Pompeo, and I'm very iffy on Mike Pompeo as well. I'm not saying Ortegas is all bad. I'm not saying Pompeo is all bad. I'm just saying they're not the what I envision when I get excited about a red wave coming up. Donald Trump made a statement. Donald Trump made the statement here. I'm told the very strong and impressive Morgan Ortagus is exploring a run for Congress in Tennessee's 5th congressional district. I couldn't be happier because she's an absolute warrior for the America First and MAGA, for America First and MAGA. That kind of made me go sideways when he said that. Morgan was fantastic in her role working with Secretary Mike Pompeo at the U.S. State Department and understands the threats posed by China, Russia, Iran, and others, and will be tough, not just roll over like the Democrats and rhinos. She serves in the U.S. Navy Reserves and will fight for our military. She won't bow down to the woke mob or the leftist lamestream media. Morgan Ortagus will have my complete and total endorsement if she decides to run, and he would have the inside information. I think Trump is just kind of saying he knows she's going to do it. Let's look at her history. The first post she held in government was as a public affairs officer at the U.S. Agency for International Development from 2007 to 2008 under President George W. Bush. In 2013, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg presided over her wedding. She also, now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just when you put it all together, it just makes you go, just like, I don't know. She also served on Jeb Bush's presidential campaign in 2016. Now, let me stop there and say, my 2016 was a long time ago. So just because she was in that realm, I was, and I'm still working on my thoughts to do a video on this. I was an AOC supporter before the pandemic. I even did videos on this channel where I kind of defended Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So you can change quickly, but this is not really where she's at. I don't see the evidence of that change. She worked for a super PAC associated with Jeb. Ortegas criticized Trump during a Fox News appearance because he does not think that Americans should be, quote unquote, the policeman of the world. That's actually what made people fall in love with Trump, is quotes like that. Ortega added that she fundamentally disagrees with the isolationist approach to foreign policy. So it's just like, we have to hash this out. Like, did you change your mind, or like what's happening? And walk us through that process. And that's what I want to talk about with where I went with my process. I need to walk through that process. When Pompeo selected her as a spokeswoman, the Washington Post celebrated her. Like, it's just all adding up. It's all these little things that add up. And it's like, I don't know where you're at. The Washington Post celebrated her as indicating the merger of traditional Republican foreign policy ideals with the America First mantra of President Trump and his campaign. Is it just me, or is it just like, I don't understand this? But if she was a bridge between the GOP establishment and Trump world, as Post described her, Ortegas doesn't mind occasionally reaching across the aisle. I'm not against. So I'm showing this picture here. I'm not against reaching across the aisle. And if for whatever reason Joe Biden invited me to the White House for some type of acknowledgement or whatever the case, I would go. I would be respectful. I wouldn't take any selfies though. I can't make that leap. That's just too much. I still respect the office of the presidency. So I'm torn on this. The picture, what do you think? Does this picture mean anything? It's just one of those more cringe moments. In a goodbye email sent to the State Department, colleagues obtained exclusively by the National Pulse, Ortega's pledged to faithfully serve the Biden administration. So I don't know. I would go to the White House as a citizen for an acknowledgement to respect the office, but I'm not serving. I am not serving under this person. Absolutely not. Despite his occasional criticisms of House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Trump is still fundraising on his behalf. I just put that in there because it shows me Trump is he needs guidance. There are whispers that Trump might, in order to save face amid backlash, endorse both. That might be, I think that would be a smart, I mean, it doesn't mean much, but I think that would be a here's the thing. Donald Trump got the feedback about the Operation Warp Speed. Like, bro, we don't want to talk about that right now. And in Arizona, he had a rally and he never brought it up, not once. He only brought up the V as in freedom, and he did much better. My point with bringing that up is if he does endorse Starbuck, what it represents is Trump listens to the people. And that's all we need him to do, in my opinion. So I do need to see him do something here because he's not showing me that he's learned from his first 4 years in office. You can't listen to Ivanka and Jared on everything. They're right sometimes, but you've got to listen to the people, and then you've got to be able to tell Ivanka and Jared, no, I'm not endorsing your girl. Trump's endorsements are unmoored from principles. That's perfectly written. It's like disconnected. It's mostly about who has his ear, which is generally not the people for whom America First is more merely an empty. Well, I don't know. It seems like Carrie Lake, Marjorie Taylor Greene, some people might have his ear, and he does adjust. So I'm not going to say he doesn't adjust at all. In the end, the only interesting part of this story is that it shows, despite media narratives that they have distanced themselves from Trump, Jared and Ivanka still remain deeply influential. What I want to say about this is Donald Trump went into the swamp, and it's not possible. It was impossible for him to surround himself with people he could trust. DC is like filled with people who make Morgan Ortega make her look like a pillow, a soft toy, like a nothing to worry about. And she's a establishment embedded NEOCON. So Trump had to surround himself with people he trusts, family. He had no choice, in my opinion. But they do have influence over him. This is Morgan Ortagus and Bill Gates. I'm not saying, I'm just showing the picture. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just like, okay, I'm not I'm not taking selfies with Bill Gates. That's all I'll say. That's what I'll say there. I did this one because it's very true. You look. So I think this is what Andrew Smith is saying here. Wonder why Trump would endorse Morgan Ortagus over Robby Starbuck. Huge mystery. Only election day the nerds could find out. What he's saying is, we know Trump. Trump's a showman. He was with the beauty pageant, and he loves beauty. Morgan Ortagus is an attractive person, and objectively, who's Donald Trump going to just forget about ideology? Look at it. Look at this. Donald Trump's going to be like, "Are you crazy?" That's just how he is. So, we just have to guide him. Props to Carrie Lake, who was also on with Tim Pool. Tim Pool got everybody on the show, but she was great. I think Carrie Lake, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they were great on the show. But Carrie Lake was like, and she doesn't go against Trump much. She doesn't want to do that. She was there in Arizona in the rally. Trump was bigging her up. So this is a kind of a delicate moment for her. She's like, I'm sticking with Robby Starbuck. He's a patriot who loves America. I endorsed Robby months ago, believe he's exactly what we need in these difficult times. He's a God-fearing man who loves his wonderful family. He's a true citizen politician. Robby will serve the people of Tennessee well. That's her opinion. I'm going to end on this. I think this is my last slide here. Oh, no, I got a couple more. Uh, I just did this one because it was kind of it. So she said that he was God-fearing. He's a God-fearing man who loves his wonderful family. He's a true citizen politician. And this person on Twitter is like, WTF does God-fearing mean? And what does that have to do with his ability to serve in government? I'm just like, oh my good. There's nothing wrong with asking the question because you don't understand. I don't like the WTF. That because that's disrespectful. If you don't understand what God fearing means, just ask the question and be humble. There's a lot. I see that on Twitter a lot. And I'll ask the question a lot. I'm like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? I'm not going to be like, what the f? Just be humble, bro. You need something. A lot of these people don't believe in a higher power, so that's how government becomes their higher power. That's why these officials become their deities. What does God fearing mean? Which is a fair question. I'm not going to get into it now, but it's a very powerful statement. And it's not something I know without knowing somebody. But to put WTF in front of that, just to try and disrespect it, and then say, what does it have to do with your ability to serve in government? That's why we have people who have a new state religion of critical theory, because you're not God fearing, sir. And then Louisa said, what does it mean? She was like, it means everything, bruh. That was a tangent. Back on this to end. I'm going to end on this. Continuing to get calls for comment and info on what happened with the absurd preliminary Trump endorsement of Morgan Ortega's over Robby Starbuck. This is Daniel Bostic. Excellent tweet here. I have one more tweet after this. There is a broader issue in Team Trump that needs to be addressed for him to be relevant going forward. It's worth the battle. So it's nothing against Trump. Trump did the unthinkable. He will never be forgotten in the annals of history, for he beat Hillary Clinton. He did the impossible. Nobody else could have done that. Nobody else had the charisma, the bravado, the cojones. But he was perfect for that time. Times change, though. Times change. The message to Team Trump from the populist new right is clear. I like new right. I'm going to start using that. Your supporters are not in a liberal style cult, sir. This is not the establishment. We are not just blindly following you. We're actually helping you, bruh. They won't blindly follow you when you listen to DC consultants that undermine your promises to the base. Clean up the ship and stay on track, or get out of the way. Let me know what you think. Take care. Well, I'm not going to go away, but I'm going to cut that up probably later. So that's my take on the Morgan Ortega stuff. So yeah, just going back to some of the comments here. Strong within, Starbuck has been doing great things. His social media channels and all he talks about is very bold. I'm hoping he goes far. I agree. I don't know him, but social media has allowed us to get to know people a little bit. And he tweets a lot. And he went on with Tim Cast. That's how I found out about him. And you find out about someone. Mona Lisa, just saying the truth. You're talking about a godless generation or two. Man, and I'm really now later in life seeing the power of belief. And I'm not talking about having to go to church, or just belief in something greater than yourself. This, Justin, good point. Neocons are usually anti-communism. I can support that. I agree. There's going to be times where our interests converge. I'm not saying Morgan Ortega is a terrible person or anything like that. So, yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, Trump's worried about his legacy with Operation Warp Speed. I wish someone would talk to him. His legacy is his relationship with his people. That's his legacy. The people who hate Trump are going to write him in history as the ugliest figure ever. No matter what with Operation, they're worshiping the V right now, but will still put him and Operation Warp Speed in a bad light in history. Don't try to make them happy. God's watching said, I think they got rid of Donald Trump and I'm cleaning it up a little bit, and replaced him with a body double. He doesn't have any fight. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. The little bit of fight that he does have is for things we really don't care about. I don't know. I heard people like Luke Rukowski talk about, there's some stuff going on with um, Epstein, and I don't want to get too much into that, but it's like, yeah, did somebody get to him? I was a massive Trump advocate. This is God's watching, saying going to his rallies, standing on the side of the road with flags, that Trump doesn't exist anymore. I don't want to knock his legacy. I just don't think he's the right man, and I'm right with you. God's watching. Let me go on to the next topic. I got, believe it or not, 2 more topics, and then I will be out. Next topics, OSHA. This is a quick one. I don't have much on this, but I thought there's a very interesting situation here. Not so this one I am not surprised about. OSHA will try a different route to a V mandate for businesses. They got shut down by the Supreme Court, and now they're going to go a different route. On Tuesday, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration announced that it was withdrawing its planned V mandate for businesses with 100 or more employees. The decision comes in the wake of a Supreme Court ruling that blocked OSHA from implementing the mandate, while lawsuits opposing it made their way through lower courts. Every time we talk about the Supreme Court, I have to reiterate this. And people, if you're watching, you see this, comment and help me out if I'm missing something. Because I feel like I'm missing something, but the Supreme Court does not have an enforcement arm. There's no branch of the Supreme Court that enforces their rulings. So the Supreme Court said the mandate through OSHA is unconstitutional. And then OSHA right now can be like, and we're going ahead. There's nothing that would stop them. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's anything that would stop them legally. Like, there's no police, there's nothing that would stop them. The Supreme Court's the highest court in the land. They've already ruled. So if they still do it, and we might get to that point where it gets that ugly. I hope not, because that's when the country falls apart. But there's the checks and balances here would be a Democrat majority Congress, or whatever the Congress's makeup, but right now it's a Democrat majority. They have the tiebreaker in the Senate. They would have to be the ones to impeach Biden to say, hey, they already said it's unconstitutional. So you see how dangerous things are getting here? Maybe I'm missing something, but they could say we're still doing it. There's no way for the Supreme Court to stop that. Let me know if you know anything on that one. But the agency also indicated that it is still working on getting the mandate instituted via a completely different, albeit slower mechanism. And all that is the way it should have been done in the first place. Or I'm not for the mandate. Let me be clear. But if you're going to try it, this is the way it was supposed to be done, not under this emergency stuff. OSHA's initial attempt to implement a mandate was done under a clause of U.S. law that allows the agency to issue temporary emergency standards in response to new hazards. So that all that means is they could take shortcuts and skip the part where they get feedback from the public and all this other stuff that would take months. And in this case, you'll see in this article, a year or more, maybe. They were saying, hey, there's a new hazard, even though they delayed it over the holidays, remember, because the large employer said, let's get our paper first. The emergency standard would require the V for testing for companies with 100 or more employees, provided these employees were not consistently working outdoors. But that doesn't mean that OSHA is giving up entirely. In addition to the law that enables the agency to issue temporary emergency standards, Congress has given OSHA the statutory ability to set workplace safety standards through the standard federal rulemaking process. So this is the process they skipped. This process involves publishing draft rules in the Federal Register, soliciting public feedback. Boy, that's going to be fun. They skipped public feedback, saying it was an emergency, even though they delayed it through the holidays, and formulating a formal rule taking that feedback into account. So that's all I had to say there. They're going to try it again. They're going to try it again, doing it through the formal route, and this should be no surprise. The reason why it should be no surprise is because they did the same thing with the CDC. The CDC eviction moratorium was unconstitutional. There is no way in hell the CDC. I don't want anybody to be homeless. Don't get me wrong. This isn't from a mean standpoint, but there's no way in the hell the CDC has the power to tell landlords they can't evict somebody because they're not paying the rent. And that all was happening because of the government response. The government was the one that told people they couldn't work, go home, didn't have any type of universal basic income in place or whatever. So he tried to do it twice with the CDC moratorium, pissed off Kavanaugh, probably other judges too. And they're going to try to take two bites of the apple with this one too. We'll see what happens. Another live stream, Casual Goats. What's up? Not too late. I got one more topic going, and I'll re-upload the segments. So hey, you can't listen to everything. I appreciate you coming in. Mona Lisa says good points. At Gods are watching. Being a politician can be good or bad. So good conversation in the chat uh, going on. I have one last topic, and I am man. I'm kind of torn on this one. Um, I don't even know. I don't know how what my emotions are on this one. Let me show you what spawned this one. I did a video. Just this makes me laugh every time I see these pictures. I did a video on Ethan Klein and his comments against Joe Rogan. Ethan Klein is entitled to his opinion. I am not a censorship dude, so don't even think that I'm going down that route. I'm entitled to react to his opinion and laugh my ass off. But here's I thought that was probably one of my least controversial videos, but I got a comment on here. Appreciate the comment, Iris. Iris said you don't have or didn't show on purpose, talking about me, any context whatsoever. Until he got that thing, C19, Joe Rogan was heavily implying that a healthy lifestyle was all that was needed to avoid the symptoms of C19. But when he got it, he instantly threw the whole kitchen sink at it. Then he made a rant comparing obese people and how they're at risk, just as the unveed people, to which Ethan Klein responded, pointing out that not even Joe Rogan is the healthiest person ever because he's been smoking cigars and pumping HGH, which caused his did that really cause his embolism? I didn't know that. For years, the criticism you're doing towards Ethan is exactly the same as the criticism he's done towards JR. I'll have to fact check that. Uh, the only difference is, so he's saying that my criticism of Ethan is the same as Ethan's to JR. There might be something to that. Well, let's keep going. The only difference is that Ethan has never claimed that you won't need any medical attention for C19 if you have a healthy lifestyle, nor has he ever claimed to be the peak of health. And I appreciate the comment, but I'm just like, well, you made this too complicated, bruh. Like, let's revisit what he said. This is all I was reacting to. Joe Rogan, this is from Ethan Klein. Joe Rogan, who lives on elk meat, egg yolk, and human growth hormone with lungs full of tar, thinks he's healthier than everyone. Joe ever say that? I don't remember him ever saying that, but this MFer is such a bish that when he got C19, he threw the kitchen sink at it. If you're so healthy, just write it out like you say a man should. I never heard him say that. So you're making this too complicated, bruh. Joe Rogan. This is Joe Rogan. This is Ethan Klein. You have no leverage to talk about his health. No one is perfectly healthy. No one in the world is perfectly healthy. And health only improves your odds of surviving a lot of these things. It doesn't make you invincible. And if you get whatever virus, I'm not even going to talk about this current pandemic, any virus or disease, depending on how bad it hits you, even if you've been healthy or not, you knock it out. You do whatever you need to do to knock it out. You can have an opinion to say, I don't need to take this procedure, but if I get it, I can take this other procedure. Why is this so hard? And then this is what is difficult for me. Whoopi Goldberg are as flippant. Bill Maher, all you might have heard this. I'm not going to go too much into this. Bill Maher was like, "It's silly. You have to have your mask. You have to have a card. You have to have a booster. They scan your head like you're a cashier. I'm not like you're a bunch of bananas. I'm not bananas. You are." And then Whoopi replies, like, "It's not funny to people who have lost their kids. I know she misspoke, and they put the dot dot dots because she actually said the wrong thing. But I do videos all the time, and I go back and it's cringe because I say the wrong word. Whatever." It's not really funny to people who lost their kids and all that. So she's not happy about what Bill Maher said. And gosh, how do I do this? Whoopi, it's the same thing as Ethan Klein. Same thing here. Olga, who I follow on Twitter, she tweeted, I want to introduce you to Ricarda Lang, Green Party. This is Germany, I believe, pushing V mandates, forcing everyone to get the jab so she doesn't have, I'm going to stop there. That's what I wanted to talk about. Like, if you are going to come from the standpoint of trying to mandate a medical procedure on other people, then you just open the door for me to look at your lifestyle, your and I don't shame anybody for looks or anything like that, but you open the door for me to look at you. And it's not just about weight. It's about, are you do you ride a motorcycle without a helmet? I'm for freedom. I'm for liberty. So if you're for freedom and you're for liberty, we're good. Right? You can ride your motorcycle without a helmet. You can bungee jump. You can skydive. You can eat McDonald's. You can eat cheeseburgers. You can eat 10,000 calories a day. I'm all for I want you to be healthy, but I'm all for your right to do it. And I don't have any beef. But the moment you start saying the government should mandate something on me, health wise, medically, no, 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 no. Now I need to look at you. How many calories are you eating per day? Are you wearing a seatbelt when you're driving? No, no, no. I need to know that. And we need to start. If it's not my take, it's your take. Do we need to mandate that you need to do 100 push-ups every day? It would help, right? Do we need to mandate that you go on a treadmill for 30 minutes a day? That would help, right? And what their counter is that we're not talking about a communicable disease. Don't go that route. Don't go that route. I don't want to go that route that I need to get the V to protect you from the V without the V. And no, no, no. That's that meme on Twitter where it's like, why do I need to get the V to protect you? You can get the V. Don't do that. And viruses have existed for, to my knowledge, ever, and there will be different ones that exist. If you wanna do a procedure, do it. And I'll end with that. I don't want to do any shaming or that's just not my style. If you let's do that. Let's Ricarda Lang, let I don't want to have to talk about eating habits. I don't want to have to talk about diet. I don't want to have to talk about lifestyle choices. Everybody has lifestyle choices that could be better to make them healthier. How about we just agree on freedom? That's it. Thanks. Let me know what you think on that one. Wasn't as hard as I thought. Might as well casual goats. I'll just read some comments here before I go out. Appreciate everybody who took the time to stop on by. Chaos, thanks for the super chat. Says all a part of the Great Reset. I'm not. I mean, I don't. It's fair. The a lot of the Great Reset has been out there for people to look at. I'm not going to make any determinations on it. Uh, at least I would do so on locals, not here. But yeah. Thank you. Casual Goat said he's in welding class, but wouldn't miss this. One of his favorite current main channels. Thank you. And Casual Goats actually was there when I did, at least for part of it, I think when I did the live stream with Jen Perlman. Appreciate your support, man. It means a lot. It means a lot. Casual Goat says Ethan has always been a clown. To be honest, I've never been too much of a fan, but now I couldn't be a fan. Yeah, it's pretty hard to be. I thought he was actually talented. He's a talented marketer, but he's fallen into this establishment trap. He's not free. He's not being a free thinker. Do you remember when I wanted to do a video on it, the Crowder Klein debate? And I knew something was going to happen. Steven Crowder knew something was going to happen. And if you don't know, remember months ago, Steven Crowder was going to debate Ethan Klein. And Ethan Klein isn't what he was years ago. His brain he's mush. Like Steven Crowder's, he debates for like fun. Steven Crowder would have crushed him. So Ethan Klein wasn't going to debate Crowder. Crowder knew it too. So Ethan Klein goes on the live stream, and then uh, before you know it, he right when the debate's going to start, Sam Cedar's on the line. And Steven Crowder's like, "Hey, Sam's, what is going on? I didn't agree to debate you." Oh man, that was I think I might still do a video because that was such a funny moment. It was, and it just what an embarrassing moment for Ethan Klein to agree to do a debate and then to swap out last moment. Oh, that was so embarrassing. Robert Billing says, I miss the old Ethan. He was actually funny and anti-feminist. I agree. I agree. He was good. I'm not gonna knock anybody for changing, but I'm he's just we don't align anymore. God's watching says if anybody wants to make a difference and doesn't know how or where to start, I would recommend donating money to channels like this. Project Veritas, Judicial Watch was on with Tim Pool yesterday. Great episode. If you if you don't subscribe to Tim Pool, the after show was great. They talked about election integrity, one of my favorite topics. I cannot talk about it on YouTube. I just don't know the rules, but I will continue to do videos. I have actually done a couple of videos. I did one on the curious case of Maricopa County. Um, Cyber Ninjas disbanded. That was I don't know if anybody saw that. That was weird. But I'll do more on locals. God's watching or anywhere else people are actually getting things done. Appreciate it. You're right. I I subscribe to Eric July. I've donated subscribe to Michael Malice on locals. Viva and Robert Barnes are one of my favorite. You can only subscribe to whatever you can afford, but Tim Pool, I really do. Oh, I'm also subscribed to We Are Change. Luke Radowski is one of my favorite dudes, man. I love that dude. Uh, Brandon Rutter says, before watching it, I thought your C school study was the one where they compared Zoom schoolers to actual. Yeah. So I did a video on locals recently, which with a school study about the efficacy of something that people are putting on kids in schools. And what Brandon's talking about, there was a different study, and I think that was from a while back, where they compared Zoom school people on Zoom classes to actual classrooms as examples of those things working. It was absurd. So this study, I don't even know if it was really a study. They just took data from schools, I think, but University of Michigan, my school, but it's on locals. Check it out. Um, it's legit, but the numbers aren't what they think they show. Casual Ghost, I like that last name. Whoopi picked out for herself. I wonder why she picked it. Wow. Casual Ghost coming with the heat. Ethan is a typical leftist clown. He is right now, that's for sure. He will sell his mortal soul to his handlers, which will cancel him when he served his purpose. And I think Ethan knows that. It's a great point. When you go to that leftist mindset, they will wipe you out the moment they don't need you. Done, gone. That goes for people even at Joe Biden's level, like much less the common person. Tim has a good question. I'm not sure. Casual Ghost said he's spicy. I've paid more attention to Adam Krigler now, actually. Yeah, I think he just got a strike recently. He's great. I like him a lot. He used to be with Tim Pool. He and Tim Pool were good. Yeah. But yeah, I like his channel a lot. He's really, really good. Great for news, but in the culture, I feel like Tim lacks. Casual Goats. Lotus Eaters does a lot more. Lotus Eaters is, I'll be honest with you. There's a couple there sometimes because now I'm doing this and I'm just a guy in my basement. I don't know a lot. I just know what I know. I read articles, but I look at Lotus Eaters and I'm like, damn, I can't do this. I'm like, I'm not good enough to. Uh, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had the most amazing, and I'm going to link it in the chat here. I'm going to wrap up here within a couple minutes, but let me find the link to it. Tucker Carlson had the most amazing segment, 8-minute segment on the pending potential Ukraine, Russia, United States, NATO. I heard someone say that this is a potentially World War II type thing, which really means three. But his segment was unbelievable. Must watch. I think it was his best segment ever. And the reason I bring it up, it's like sometimes I see it and I'm like, why am I doing segments when you've got guys like Tucker Carlson out there? But maybe I can bring something different. I put it in the chat, I think. I'm using StreamYard, so I don't know. I guess it connects with the chat there. John B. Wells has been fired recently. I am not familiar with John B. Wells. Let me look real quick, see if it's somebody I subscribe to and just don't. No, I just subscribed. Thank you for that. I was not subscribed to John B. Wells. Look forward to learning more about John B. Wells. Yeah, thank you, Robert Billy. That's all. I'm just gonna do me, keep it real, keep it in my lane. Tucker's my dude, man. Now I'm not gonna agree with him with everything. I don't know if y'all saw the speech he had at the what was it, what was the event? Damn it, I forgot the event. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable speech. Mona Lisa, absolute. Rush used to say, if the media makes you, they can bring you down quick. Rush had so many powerful statements. Yeah, a lot of people like Adam. Adam's great. Oh yes, this Justin. Wow, this Justin's been listening for quite a bit to bring up. I I I brought up after Rush Limbaugh passed. Rest in peace to the late great Rush Limbaugh. I brought up that I was an Art Bell fan. If you don't know Art Bell, man, Art Bell was amazing. Art, Art Bell was a radio broadcaster. He was the original and founder of this show. I think it was called Coast to Coast AM. I mean, it just brings back memories, more vivid memories than TV shows. Art Bell was so good. Oh my goodness. He would have people on there. He'd be talking about aliens and conspiracy theories and stuff. Legend. Art Bell. Art Bell was a living legend. Rest in peace. Thanks for bringing him up, this Justin. All right. Yeah, I used to Art Bell was on like late at night, midnight, in where I was in Cleveland, Ohio, where I was. So wait, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be out. Everybody stay safe. Hope your friends, family, everybody's doing well, and take care. Appreciate it.